नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। एकमक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नावरधिय धृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया चलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। नमो Ramana. We offer our salutations to Ramana, who shines in every heart as the very self. And we begin today's Thursday Self-Enquiry Satsangh. In this Satsang, we read two verses from Guru Vachaka Kovai, compiled by Muruganar Swami in a poetical way, and we meditate on the meaning of those verses, and we sit down to practice self-enquiry. The satsang concludes by the summing up by Venkatesh Deshpande ji, and the satsang concludes by the offering of Ramanashtottara. Let us read the verses selected from Guru Vachaka Kovai for today's satsang. These verses selected as inspired by Bhagavan by Kumari Revati Shankar. And the first verse that has been chosen is the verse 451, which is from the chapter 75, Experiencing Happiness. Verse 451 from Experiencing Happiness. To whatever extent, 451 verse says, to what you dive within the heart, to that same extent will you experience the bliss which merges with you as the undivided Atma Swarupa that exists and shines with an utterly different nature to the sense enjoyments. And Muruganar Swami explains the bliss of Swarupa will manifest to the extent into the heart. The bliss of the Swarupa will manifest to the extent that one dives into the heart. It will be equally appropriate to say, to that extent that Suttarivu is diminished. It will be equally appropriate to say, to the extent the Suttarivu. Bhagavan says that even when a desired object of enjoyment is attained, bliss is experienced. because the mind dives into the heart. Bhagavan says that even when a desired object of enjoyment is attained, bliss is experienced because the mind dives into the heart. Therefore, as the mind abides more and more in the heart without suttarivu, like a discriminating person who does not leave the shade, the bliss of the self will shine of its own accord. Therefore, as the mind abides more and more in the heart without suttarivu, like a discriminating person who does not leave the shade, the bliss of the self will shine of its own accord. Bhagavan says, to whatever extent mind consciousness dives within, to that same extent will the bliss of the self spring forth and reveal itself. To whatever extent mind consciousness dives within, to that same extent will the bliss of the self spring forth and reveal itself. Bhagavan is telling to attain that happiness, which is our own true nature, which is our own very self, one needs to dive within into the heart. How much ever extent we are able to go within, so much happiness we can experience. In our self-enquiry workshops, we usually start with we starting with the notion that what do we think we are? We think we are this body. Since we hold on to this notion that I am this body, so whatever problem this body is facing, I feel I am facing. If the body has a headache, I say I have a headache. If the body is feeling tired, I say I am tired. So we are connecting ourselves with that body. But Ramana says, you are not the body. The body is jada. It is like an instrument which is working. So we drop this idea that we are the body and we go a little deeper. So when you drop this idea that you are the body and you turn within to the mind, we have this exercise where we are made to experience, touch something which is soft, touch something which is rough, and taste something which is sweet, taste something which is bitter, and smell something which is very, very nice, fragrant. And when the people, the sadhakas are asked, what did you touch? They all say, ah, we touched a stuffed toy. And what did you touch next? They say, we touched something which is rough. Maybe it was the scrubber which we used to wash the utensils, the scrubber. And what did you smell? I think we smelled some incense sticks. And what did you hear? We say we hear the bell. Then the question is asked, does the hand say, yeah, I am touching the soft toy, or a hand say, or the ear say, I am listening to a bell in the incense sticks, or who is that which says that this is a soft toy, this is a scrubber, this is a bell, this is an instant stick, this is very, very sweet. I think it is sugar. This is bitter. I think this is neem leaf. So, who is the one who differentiates? Is it the senses, which is part of the body? No, it is the mind. This and this is that. So, when we understand this, we become free from all the bodily attachment. When we turn towards the mind, we understand that the any problem with the body does not affect us. Usually in the medical science, what they do is they give us anesthesia so that we are unaware of all the problems of the body, so we become free from the body and we are within ourselves, so we feel little happy and relaxed. And when Ramana says we think we are the mind, but are we the mind? Mind is only a set of thoughts which come and go, come and go. Sometimes we are filled with very anger. We say, I am angry. Sometimes we are sad and we say, I am sad. But Ramana says, all these anger, sorrow, wonder, and worries, anxieties, thought, everything is only thoughts. It's only a guest. It comes and goes. It is not the permanent nature of us. So we are not even the mind. So even become free from the mind. And Ramana says that all the thoughts are connected to one thought, which is the I thought. When we hold on to that thought takes us deeper and deeper and deeper into its source, which is the heart. As we free ourselves from the exterior layers that we think we are, and turn within and within and within, we find greater and greater and greater joy. And when we understand that this is our true nature, this is the real source of happiness, and the source of happiness is not outside by understanding something that is called a suttariv, that is to understand something in the world by testing and to understand or learn from the world, it is of no use. And you understand that there is no use of holding on to anything from outside, but the only support is to turn within and within and within and dive deeper and deeper into the heart. When we truly understand this, we become like that wise man who understands that the happiness lies under the shade of the tree. A foolish man will go around in the world in the hot, scorching heat, and he comes back to the shade and says, Aha, now I found happiness. It is like when you're desiring something, when we get something, at that point of time, the mind sinks into its source. That thought that was holding the only one thought that we had, that thought dissolves, and we experience the taste of our own truth. We feel happy and we are blissful. But the wrong thing is we are connecting that happiness to the outer happening or outer possession. But Ramana says that the happiness does not lie in anything outside. The happiness is within, and it is our own true nature, reminding us to get back, get back to that source, which is the heart. Why does the mind arise? Why is there thought which is appearing? It is because still we think that by thinking we can get happiness. So we are for some reason we are habituated to turn outward in search of happiness. So whenever we sit for meditation, if the mind is moving outward with the thought, one needs to remember there is no happiness outside. Like Ramana told, the monkeys are all meditating in the presence of Ramana in Virupaksha cave. And one monkey gets disturbed and is looking here and there. And Ramana says, What kingdom are you going to lose? We think that when we open our eyes and we do the work, when we have thoughts, we are trying to capture some kingdom. But Ramana is asking, What kingdom are you going to lose? Instead, turn within, where we have the kingdom of heaven shining within us. It is a kingdom of bliss and kingdom of freedom, which is our own true nature, which is shining. So Ramana is reminding us to get back to that with the question as soon as the thought arises. Do not pursue that thought because it is not going to take you to anywhere near the permanent happiness. Instead, you ask, for whom is this thought? And the answer is for me. And quickly turn the attention towards the heart and ask, Who am I? And hold on to this question. And this question will take us deeper and deeper into our own true nature, which is eternal bliss. Let us sit down for self inquiry for the next 15 minutes. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramana. Namo Ramana. We move on to the second verse chosen for the satsang today. It is the verse number 620, 620. For the large rolling temple chariot to run through the streets and return to its starting point safely and in an orderly way, not only in the small but vital leech pin that keeps the wheel attached to the axle indispensable, it also needs the obstructing wedges that regulate the movement and prevent its wheel from getting out of control and crushing into the sides of the road. Life of sadhaka, the obstacle that occurs through the grace of God, are indispensable for him to attain divine strength. Once again, I read this verse. Verse 620. For the large rolling temple chariot to run through the streets and return to its starting point safe and in an orderly way, not only in the small but vital leech pin that keeps the wheel attached to the axle indispensable, it also needs the obstructing wedges that regulate its movement and prevent its wheel from getting out of control and crushing into the sides of the road. Similarly, in the life of sadhaka, the obstacles that through the grace of God are indispensable for him to attain divine strength. As an explanation, the temple chariot of Tiruvannamalai completes a circuit of the four main streets that surround the Arunachaleshwara temple once a year during the Deepam festival. It is a four-wheeled wooden construction about 30 feet high, which is maneuvered through the thousands of devotees, thousands which is maneuvered through the town by thousands of pilgrims who pull it with two long chains that are attached to the front. Until a few years ago, there was no steering mechanism since neither the 8 feet high wooden wheel or the axle could be turned. In order to prevent the chariot from running into the crowd that line the road and to negotiate the four corners that are on the route, wedges were occasionally placed under some of the wheels so that when the chains were pulled, the chariot turned on the spot itself. The chariot turned on the spot instead of going forward. Since one of the street on the route is downhill, the wedge are also used there to check the forward momentum of the chariot. Without them, the wheel would pick up speed and crash off the bottom of the slope. This is the Deepam time is finished the Deepam, and the temple chariot of Tiruvannamalai completes a circuit of the four main streets that surround the Arunachaleshwara temple once a year during the Deepam festival. It is the four-wheeled wooden construction about 30 feet high, which is maneuvered through the town by thousands of pilgrims who pull it with two long chains that are attached to the front. Until a few years ago, there was no steering mechanism since neither the 8 feet high wooden wheels nor the axle would turn. in order to prevent the chariot from running into the crowd that line the road, and to negotiate the four corners that are on the route. Wedges are occasionally placed under some of the wheels so that when the chains are pulled, the chariot turned on the spot instead of going forward. Since one of the streets of the route is downhill, the wedges are also used there to check the forward momentum of the chariot. Without them, the wheel would pick up speed and the building the bottom of the slope. Here's an explanation by Muruganar Swami. When Bhagwan's elder brother said, shortly before Bhagwan left Madurai to Tiruvannamalai, when Bhagwan's elder brother said, shortly before Bhagwan left Madurai to Tiruvannamalai, for Tiruvannamalai, what business is there here in this house for one who is practicing yoga? His elder brother Nagaswami told, what business is there here in this house for one who is practicing yoga? Was this not the obstacle that transformed a 16-year-old schoolboy into the Bhagavan Ramana who is praised by the whole world? Murgana Swami is telling, was this not the obstacle that transformed a 16-year-old schoolboy into the Bhagavan Ramana who is praised by the whole world? There is no rule that only those obstacles created with good intent will prove to be beneficial. Through the merit of the tapas performed by the sadhaka, even an obstacle created through evil intent can prove beneficial. Also, occasionally, a well intentioned obstacle can lead to a totally unexpected and unique benefit. Ramana's life is a good example of this. There is no rule that only those obstacles created with good intent will prove to be beneficial. Through the merit of the tapas performed by the sadhakas, even an obstacle created through evil intent can prove beneficial. Also, occasionally, a well intentioned obstacle can lead to a total unexpected and unique benefit. Ramana's life is a good example of this. This reminds me of a saying in Mahabharata. Mahabharata says all the varams turned out to be curses, and all the curse became useful. So, such we can find many instances like that in Mahabharata, where a curse which is given, the Urvashi who falls in love with Arjuna, she says, "Come and unite with me." And Arjuna says, "Oh, Urvashi, you are my father's wife. You are like his companion, and you are like mother for me. How can I unite with you?" But she is filled with the desire for Arjuna, and she gives a shapam saying that, "Oh, Arjuna, you should become a eunuch." And that shapam which Urvashi gave became a varam. During the Ajnata Vasa, Arjuna could transform himself into Brihannala and hide himself. So the shapam became a varam. And we hear of Durvasa Muni who had come to the Duryodhana's palace first. And Duryodhana served him. The Durvasa Muni told, "I'm very hungry. I want hot food." And he told this and he went into Samadhi. And Duryodhana is waiting. He's waiting, and then he's preparing. He has kept one cooks in shift. They are preparing one set of food. And the Durvasa Muni is not waking up from the Samadhi, and he cannot wake him up. So they are preparing hot food. And when the hot food becomes cold, that food is thrown away and new food is prepared. So in cycles, the new food is being prepared, and he is also not sleeping. He is also awake. When any moment Durvasa Muni may wake up. So he is alert and he is doing seva just by being alert and sitting there. And Durvasa Muni, when he opens his eyes, he is pleased by the seva that Duryodhana did, and he enjoys the hot feast that is provided by Duryodhana to him. And he says, Duryodhana, ask me one varam. Duryodhana, instead of making use of that varam, asking for self knowledge, he simply asked, you have given me this privilege of your uh, coming and eating at my house. So please go to Pandavas also. They are in the forest. You go to them and you also request for the same feast from them. So he thought by this the Pandavas will not be able to give him the food, and they will get into trouble, and Durvasa Muni may give them a curse. So thinking like that, he sends Durvasa Muni as a request, as a varam. He tells them to go to Pandavas, and we know the story how they are not able to serve anything. So Draupadi prays to Lord Krishna, and Krishna appears and eats a small piece of grain which was there in that Akshaya Patra, and all the living beings' stomach are full. So this little obstacles, this which we think it's curse, some difficulty, it actually benefits us. In the methodology called Theatre Arts for Holistic Development, Dr. Ambika Kameshwar says in the story, if everything is happening very, very smoothly. Imagine in Ramayana, the Rama, the Pattabhishekam was fixed. And on that day, Pattabhishekam happened. Then there would have not been any Ramayana at all. There had to be some conflict. There had to be some obstacle. The Mantara had to come. And Mantara had to manipulate the mind of Kaikeyi to ask the two Varam. One to send Rama to exile and to make Bharata the king. So this turned the story so that Rama could go and bless everyone in the forest who were all waiting for him, like Shabari and Guha on the way, and give moksha to the Jatayu. And through this, he also went and killed Ravana and Kumbhakarna, which he had to do, which was the purpose of his adventure. So these obstacles will will make our sadhana, which will actually uh, take us in the right path in our sadhana. And here, Muruganar Swami and Bhagavan are giving the example of the chariot. And the chariot is going, if you leave the chariot without obstacle, it may go and crash into a building or it may go and hurt somebody. But when the obstacles are given, when the wedges are used, it used to change directions and to reduce the speed of the chariot. If that chariot, we are the sadhakas. And in Orissa, in Odissi dance, the dancers wear one gopuram on their head to represent that they themselves, the body itself is the chariot, and the divine is within us. In the outer world, we find there are many, many obstacles. When we do something, it will not work. When we should understand that these obstacles are the divine blessings that we have gained by our tapasya, and they are helping us to be in the lane, to be in that path of sadhana, and to not get distracted. And even when we are in the inner sadhana, when the obstacles are coming, it is actually deepening our sadhana with that faith that the God is he's called the Tadat Atkolva and one who governs us. So he is that supreme who is protecting us from all the catastrophes by creating obstacles so that we get an opportunity to turn within deeper and deeper and to abide in the self. With this thought, we will turn within and try to abide with the self, in the self, through the inquiry, who am I? Let us sit down for self inquiry for the next 10 minutes. नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. I request Venkatesh Deshpande ji to give the summing up remarks.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्भक्तिः पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यम् मोक्षमूलं गुरो गुरो Namo Ramana. Using our Viveka and Vairagya, we should be able to determine whether we are in the self or not in the self. The very important aspect in our sadhana. Sorry, give 1 minute because my battery is running out. So we have to operate self or non-self. If we are operating in the self, then we go deeper and deeper into the self. And if you're in the non-self, then we have the problems that we have to deal with. Sorry, 1 second.
You can sit here.
Volume on. Okay. So if you really see, we have two options. Either we are in the self or we are not in the self. If we are in the self, then obviously we feel happier and happier. Every moment we go deeper and deeper into the self, we feel more and more happy. If you're not in the self, then what happens? We are in the non-self. Non-self means the mind is loitering around. It is going up here, there, everywhere. Then what happens? You'll experience all these failures. You'll have, but they say failures are the stepping stones to success. That means what? You keep on trying. You'll have to do karma yoga, you'll have to do bhakti yoga, raj yoga, you'll have to do jnana yoga, you have to do all those things. All the things, everything happens for the good. There's nothing that happens in the world which is not good. Only thing is our perception. So in every situation, we have to see what are we looking for. Are we looking for happiness or are we looking for something that's wrong? Like Bhagwan used to say, people used to come to the ashram and criticize toilets are not good, the sleeping arrangements are not good, food is not good. Bhagwan used to ask them one very simple question. Why have you come to the ashram? You've come to the ashram to be able to get self-knowledge. So you sit down and do self-inquiry. That's most important. So in this thing also, life throws various situations. Like if you look at the people who are married, look at your partner. Two people are not alike. They are different. What happens? You are learning something from the other person. The other person is giving another point of view, and you are thinking about that point of view and growing in that perspective. So this is very important. So the great ones, they don't really give up. They keep trying. They keep trying, trying and trying. Because of which, if they keep trying, what happens is they're able to succeed. Success is also like happiness is subjective. So for somebody, it may be, earning $1 million is a success. course, Gyan may be a success. It may be different yardsticks for success. But important thing is you have to try. You have to put a goal for yourself and try for that. You'll fail, obviously. Like if you see Mahatma Gandhi, he with his uh, dhoti, he proclaimed that I will give India, I'll get India independence. How much trouble he went through, how many failures, how many times he's put in the jail. It did not matter for him. For him, the important thing was the independence for India. So, similarly for us, in our sadhana, we have to be at it all the time. One is going inwards, being in the self, not being in the non self. If for some reasons we get into the non self, we have situations which are tough or situations which are easy. We have to learn from the situation, and the situation, what will happen? God will push you from outside, continuously push you from outside and pull you from inside and say, come in, come in. You are going to the non self. That's why Viveka and Vairagya, discrimination, dispassion are very important to be able to understand whether you are in the self or non self. And once you understand that, then what happens is you will always be in a situation you'll be happy. And happiness is our nature. Happiness is our state of mind. It's a state of being. So it's important that we always turn inwards and find out who we really are. And by that, we will be, from a self perspective, we'll always be happy. From a non self perspective, we will know where not to go. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Namo. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. We conclude with the offering of Ramanashtottara. We offer the Ramanashtottara and offer the flowers of attention to Ramana, who shines in every heart, who is shining in our own heart as our own true self. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामावली अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन महोंशेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ अहौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगद्हितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतफप्पलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ श्रीशोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूर्णिताकिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईढ्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसाराधिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। आश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविदायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डां संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ हार्द्रविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुदराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनापूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदम् लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। नमो रमण।